Hi, I'm David Alzamendi, independent data architect and consultant, and today we're going to be looking at some of the recent updates of Microsoft Fabric at the FabCon conference. So let's get started. So as you know, recently, this week, actually it's happening right now, the Fabric conference is taking place. I want to show you a few updates that have been released. And don't forget to subscribe. So if you have any comments or feedback, use the chat below and we might get started. So the Fabric conference highlights. These are highlights selected by me. And for those ones who don't know, the Fabric conference is happening right now in Las Vegas. So it started this week and finishing this week. There are a lot of Microsoft employees, leadership team, Microsoft MVPs, people from the community. So really great place to go and learn, to connect with your colleagues in other companies doing the same. And today we're going to look at some of the announcements on Microsoft Fabric. So the first one that I like to highlight, and remember, these are the highlights that I preferred. So I've chosen these ones. So there are around 50 different updates or more. I don't know how many, a lot. So the first one that we're going to review today is essentially the one related to Copilot for everyone. This is a big change in regards to Copilot. As some of you know, so Copilot is basically the functionality that allow us to query Power BI reports and other Fabric capabilities through natural language. So when you're in Copilot, you can create reports, you can create data flows and many other things, but within the Power BI experience. And remember, we had a presentation about this the week before, so go and check out that video. But you can ask questions about your data, get summaries, and many other things. So let's go and check. I'll show you what Copilot is from a Power BI point of view. Let's give some time. So this is what Copilot does. Copilot allows you to create reports, allow you to ask questions about your data, to get summaries, and it's available in Power BI, in the data flows, and many other tools. The one for Power BI is the best, but what's the change this week? So the change means that now Copilot is going to be available to everybody in every capacity and tier. So when you look at the different SKUs in Microsoft Fabric capacities, you can see that we have the F2, F4, and so on. Before this conference, Copilot was available only starting at F64. Toward the end of April, the idea is that Copilot is going to be available in all the different SKUs. So everybody is going to be able to take advantage of the Copilot capabilities. I think this is great because, as you know, getting an F64 maybe is not as accessible for many organizations, but now it means that you can start as low as $260 a month, or if you go with a reservation, you can start as low as $150 a month and still use those Copilot capabilities that give you more insights about your data using natural language. I think it's really cool to make this accessible to everybody. I cannot wait. Look, right now with the demo that you saw before, it is using an F64 capacity. This will be available in all the different skills in Fabric, which is great. So I think that has been a huge update. Remember, this will be available towards the end of April, and we'll see if they roll it out incrementally across the different regions, or is a one big release for everybody. The second update with Microsoft Fabric that is closely related to Microsoft Fabric is the data agents. So for those ones who have been using AI skills, so this is an enhancement on the AI skills capabilities. And what it means is that now you can take some of those Copilot capabilities and embed them in applications, embed them in a different website, and so on. So let's go and have a quick look. So before, with AI skills, it was only available for warehouses. So if you search for AI skills in Microsoft Fabric, you won't find that anymore. It has been rebranded as data agents. And on top of that, let's go and create a new one. So call it data agents, test update. Previously, you were able to use the data agents, AI skills, only with warehouses. But now you're able to import lakehouses, semantic models, a lot of different components within your OneLake. And I think enabling more sources like semantic models for the data agents is a game changer. Because right now you can connect to a semantic model with this AI skill. This is going to import some of that data, metadata of that semantic model. You can see it in here. We can then, add a description to the data agent and try, all the lifecycle testing, the different questions and so on. But then you can publish this data agent and you get a publish endpoint. So as soon as I navigate to the publishing section in here, you will see that now you're able to use this publish URL, this one here, and embed this URL in any of your applications. This is really cool for those ones using Power BI embedded or who are building an application or developing software. At the same time, it gives you a lot of flexibility. Then you can use this endpoint of the data agent that you have created to ask natural language and get responses from this endpoint. This gives you, it extends the functionality that you get out of the box with Copilot. Copilot is great, but remember that the experience of Copilot happens within the Fabric experience. So you can use it with Power BI Desktop within the Fabric portal, but with data agents, now you're able to leverage that technology and take advantage of that technology within your own application and your own set of roles. This is really cool. That's going to make a big change for organizations. So the next one that we're going to look at today is, of course, mirroring. And now, you might be thinking, is SQL Server available for mirroring? Can we do mirroring from SQL Server? Is SQL Server available? Is it working? Can you do mirroring? No, not yet. We cannot do mirroring with SQL Server. It is coming, but there are a few cool updates that I want to show you in the mirroring space. So when we look at mirroring, so there are a few updates, about supporting behind the firewall rules systems. There is the introduction of mirroring for Azure database for PostgreSQL. So this has been added. There is always mirroring for CI/CD, and more important as well, now you get more visibility on how to monitor some of the mirroring transactions within the Microsoft Fabric ecosystem. Now, this is really cool, but I was expecting by now, honestly, is to be able to mirror from SQL Server. And that's not available yet. So it's been 18 months and we cannot still do mirroring from SQL Server. It has been announced, it is in the roadmap as it was in the roadmap for 18 months. Let me know what you think about this. I think it's a huge use case to enable mirroring from SQL Server without workarounds, without having to mirror first to an Azure SQL DB or doing things like that. I'm looking forward, to be able to test mirroring from SQL Server, but it is not there yet. The next one that we're going to look at is the new billing model for Spark. And I think this is about having options. I think it's really good for us having options on billing and how we pay and how we allocate our different resources. So the Autoscale billing for Spark is on top of what you currently have. You'll be able to have a pay-as-you-go model for Spark workloads. And this table here describes that quite well. So currently, and this been there since the beginning, so you can see that you can do the capacity model. That means that with your current capacity that you are paying for in Fabric, you can run your Spark workloads. But now we have this Autoscale billing for Spark. So this allows you to have a pay-as-you-go model for your Spark jobs. And the reason why this is so important is because many of us, we were running into challenges in regards to using all the capacity when using our Spark jobs. Now we have more flexibility. So you might have a specific Fabric capacity SKU, an F8 that you allocate for most of your workloads, and then you define that your Spark jobs are going to use a pay-as-you-go model. I always say, when it comes to ongoing costs, pricing, and allocating the resources, it's really important for us to have options. And now we have the capacity model, we have reserved instances, and on top of that, now we have one more option, that is the Autoscale billing for Spark. Let me know what you think about this feature, and if you have any questions, we see how we can leverage the functionality. The next one is OneLake security. Do you remember the first presentation about OneLake security? It was with the release of the product. Remember, like almost 2 years ago, the public release of Microsoft Fabric. So when we talk about having OneLake as well as to having one security, one single place where you can control and manage the security of your whole analytics platform, this is one step forward on enabling OneLake security. And what OneLake security means is essentially having a centralized place where you can manage the access of your resources. So let's go and have a quick look at OneLake for security. So I'm going to close some of the previous windows to make it this easier for us. And let me bring the OneLake. I think I have closed it. So let me bring the OneLake security that we might find here. Okay. So with OneLake security, and I'm going to scroll down and I'll show you exactly a small demo over here. So it is about having one single place where you can manage the security for all your items. So let me find the right posts. Okay. Remember, this is still in preview. You have to sign up for early access. And what this is going to do is to give you a centralized repository where you can manage the access to all the objects within the Microsoft Fabric ecosystem. So right now, I'll tell you how it is right now. So currently, we have different places where you have to manage security. We have the warehouses, the folders level, the workspaces level. So you can either assign security at the workspace level, read access, admin, contributor, and so on. But then you can also assign access to specific semantic models. So you can give read access or build access. You also have in here role-level security filters, and you also have role-level security filters within the warehouse layer. And you also have within the warehouse layer the different access control levels. You know, you can give DB, data reader, and so on. And in the lakehouse, and as well across the board at the folders levels, in OneLake, you can also give access to different folders, so people can get access to different items in Microsoft Fabric. The challenge with this approach is essentially that you have to manage security in different places. And not only manage, but to be able to monitor the security is becoming a little bit difficult and challenging. So we have to go to different places, manage security across different items, and half of the times we don't remember actually what we configured or who has access to what. So with OneLake security, the idea is to have a centralized repository where you can manage the control and the access to all the items within your Microsoft Fabric ecosystem. And remember, this capability, we've been waiting for it for quite a long time. And now, if you want to, you can sign up for the preview functionality. Let me see if we find the form. So remember, OneLake security is currently in a limited preview, but you can request to join that private preview. And the next one as well is the migration assistant. I know that many of you're looking at migrating from SQL Server or dedicated SQL pools in Synapse or some of the other SQL Server editions and versions. So now we have a tool that is going to help you achieve that specific scenario. So with the migration assistant, you'll be able to import the DAC files. Let's navigate to that specific section. Here we have a really good example of the different experience, and I walk you through the different items. So I know this one is not yet available because I went to test it and it was not available in my tenant. It might be available for some of you, but the whole idea is being able to import DAC files. You can see the migrate option within the Microsoft Fabric portal. So you'll be able to import the DAC file. What's the DAC file? So the DAC file is essentially the definition of the objects in your database. In a sense, the definition of your database without the data. So this means the definition of the tables, the definition of the store procs, and so on. So once that you export that DAC file, that definition file from your database, you can import that within Microsoft Fabric. I think this is really cool. There is a wizard, it's going to guide you through migrating that code into Microsoft Fabric. It's going to tell you if some of the objects fail or you have to fix some of the metadata. And it's going to guide you as well through the different steps for migrating the metadata as well as importing the data within Microsoft Fabric. There has been a lot of effort put into enabling the migrations for dedicated SQL pools within the Synapse, the old Azure Synapse. Do you remember that? The one unified data native platform, the one-stop shop for analytics. So that dedicated SQL pools within Synapse, now you have this amazing tool to migrate to Microsoft Fabric. And you can see if you have to fix some of the items, you'll have a little bit of a wizard to get that migration started. And finally, let's jump into this one. You'll fix the problems and then I'll guide you through copying the data. It will create a copy job, taking advantage of the the data factory capabilities, define a full copy incremental load, and copy all the data in there. Of course, it doesn't copy all the pipelines within Synapse, so it will just copy the metadata of the database, the DAG pack, migrating the schemas, and then it will copy the data using the data factory capabilities. Then after that, you will have to repoint all your ETL tools and data movement tools to load information into Fabric after that. Of course, it looks easy in a real migration, of a production system. You're going to include many more steps, like data integrity validation, performance testing, change management. So there are many other steps that you have to consider as part of the migration, but having access to this tool is going to definitely help us speed up the process. And a few other releases that I haven't covered today, but I think that they are really important. And let's go back to the Fabric updates. So let's go. Remember, if you want to check for updates on Microsoft Fabric, to follow the Microsoft Fabric blog. And not this blog, but the community blog. Let's go to the community blog. Okay, and from here, just give me a sec. I think I'm not in the right place, so I want to get to the Fabric blog, the updates blog. Here we are, this one here. Finally got it. It took us a few tries, but we're here. So here, every month, they publish the different feature summary for the platform. You can see how much has been released as part of the Fabric conference and this release update. One that I wanted to especially mention, because I was waiting for this one, is the parameters for the pipelines. So before today, we had to essentially go and create one connection per source system. So this means that if you were importing information from 20 different SQL Server databases, you had to go and create the 20 connections. And that's fine. That's not changing for now. But what's changing is that before we had to create multiple copy activities to import that data from that system. So now they're bringing back the connection parameters. So that means that as part of your copy activities, you can define where the information is coming from through a parameter. So imagine this scenario, right? So imagine that you have to bring data from 20 different SQL Server databases, and you don't want to create 20 copy activities in that case. So what you can do now is to reuse the same copy activity, and by passing different parameters for the connection, as well as for the table name and schema name, you'll be able to create one copy activity that works across the 20 SQL servers for bringing the data from that system. For those ones using Azure Data Factory, I remember this was a huge capability. So we had that for so many years. And besides that, it's taking some time for that to be available in Microsoft Fabric. Now it is available for us. And I don't know. So what feature, what new update have you seen that you like a lot from Microsoft Fabric? So if you have any comments, leave them in the description below. And remember to connect in the social networks. So I know I haven't covered the 50 different updates within Microsoft Fabric, but this is my top 6, and with a preference as well with those parameters for Data Factory connections. But let's see what's next. What's going to be available in the upcoming months. Looking forward for having Copilot available for everyone and those data agents. Those are my top 2 updates within the Microsoft Fabric ecosystems. So Right. If you have any questions connecting the social networks, that was everything for today. Short, sharp, and simple for those ones who were unable to attend the Microsoft Fabric conference in Las Vegas. So stay tuned for the upcoming videos. Don't forget to subscribe and like these videos and leave any comments in the description below.